Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Coachable Moments. I'm your host, Pat GPT, and I'm excited to be back with you guys. I know it's been a couple of weeks, maybe more than a couple of weeks since my last episode, but I took some time in between seasons to get refocused, kind of reset, and get certain things back in perspective. My goal on this podcast is to deliver quality content to you guys and content of substance. My goal is to provide some things that make you think and to add value to your lives, if nothing else. That's my only goal in this. If you notice, I don't talk a lot about the latest breaking news topics. I'm not interested in that. I want to give you something that you can think on throughout the week with the intention of improving your individual life. Today, I want to talk to you from the thought process of I just want to be successful. And there was a time I remember several years ago where, compared to today, everyone wants to be successful. We've got to produce images that show us in the most favorable light. We have to demonstrate that we have obtained the biggest house, the flashiest car, the best jobs, and that we're traveling all over the world. Because if we don't do that, somehow it's crept into our mind that we're not as successful as the people that are doing that, or the people that are showing you that they're doing that, whether they actually are or not. We see it online. And I remember a time where that was not the goal. I remember specifically hearing, my parents talk about, some of my family members, and they wouldn't say that they're highly successful. Sometimes they would say, "Hey, that boy is really failing, like he's doing really bad." But they would, instead of saying that they're successful, they used to use terms like "he's doing okay for himself," or "she really turned out to be somebody," things like that. But more recently, the idea of being successful is the thing that drives most people nowadays. It's like, I've got to be successful for whatever reason it is that they feel that way. That's the mentality. And I remember a time when they would, say that, he's doing okay for himself. It was almost like he's not highly successful, nor is he a failure. He's like somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the middle to the more favorable side of life. He's doing okay for himself. And now we're just mentally captivated with obtaining the more material possessions than we ever have that I can recall. We could have, a 3-bedroom house, and that's not good enough. We've got to work harder, pick up extra shifts so we can get to the 5-bedroom house. And when we get there, that's not enough, because now we need a gated community with a security guard, or else we're not successful. We're just average. And so that thought process is driving a lot of bad behaviors nowadays. It's driving and creating a lot of anxiety and stress within us. I heard on a video that I watched a couple of days ago, and the guy asked, what day of the week do most heart attacks occur? And studies show that majority of the heart attacks occur on Monday morning. People are going to jobs that they hate. The pressure that comes with working at certain levels of executive management or management of people in general is highly stressful. Over time, it has a profound effect on your health if you're not careful. And if it's not managed in a healthy way, that stress will build up in your body and have a lot of adverse effects. So as I thought about that, I had to ask myself, what is my goal? And I decided for me personally that being successful is relative to the individual. And what you have to do is define for yourself what success looks like. If it means getting to a point to where you can comfortably pay all of your bills, you've got money left over to do whatever you want to do, you're not just wanting for things that you can't afford, or if you see something that you want, you decide you want to go buy it. For some people, that's viewed as successful. You may not have $20 million in the bank, but you live a good life, a good quality of life, that you have the things that you want and you can do things to help others. And that could be viewed as successful for some people. But my thought process on it is I have to define what success looks like for me. And for me, it's all about giving back. Life is about experiences. It's about learning lessons and learning things that's going to make other people better, not just myself. And having the ability to share information, tips, things like that really have value that you really can't quantify. You can't put a dollar amount on it, because it can produce blessings that are infinite. You can bless somebody today, and that blessing may return to you 10 times over. You never know. Or it may not return at all, but the gratification that comes from being able to help someone else, that's a worthy goal. And in my opinion, that's what success looks like, for the everyday person. We're starting to see crime go to high levels. People are taking what other people have worked for, because it's easier to do that in their mind than it is to go to work and get it for themselves. It's like we've really gotten into a material-driven society that it can be scary at times, because I know some people don't want to drive specific cars to certain neighborhoods, for the fear of being robbed or having their car stolen. And in my thoughts, it's hard to view that as successful when you can only drive your car to certain neighborhoods. To me, that's pointless, but to some, they're willing to do it because it's more important for them to drive that kind of car than it is to be considered mediocre. But to each his own. So I just wanted to stop in and share that real quick. Take a second and define what success looks like to you. It may be, and I found this, like sometimes the most simple things have more value. For listening at a lot of people that are dating now, it's important that you take your date on lavish trips and vacations every other month, and you've got to buy the latest and greatest handbag or shoes or whatever the case may be in order to make the other person happy. I challenge you to think about whether that's true happiness or whether that is purchased compliance. Because sometimes a person will only be willing to be compliant and willing to show love to you in a relationship if you can buy certain things. That's when you're purchasing compliance, you're purchasing happiness, and you'll find that won't last very long. But there was a time where people would be happy just to sit in the park, have a conversation, have a picnic, and even as recent as a year or two ago, DoorDash and some Netflix created happiness for a lot of people. They enjoy the simple things in life. But now just the pressure of being able to make people happy is getting a lot of people off track, because you're not creating happiness. You're creating temporary moments of joy that's based on your ability to spend. And if you can't spend it, then the other person may or may not be happy. that's a tough place to be. And you'll find that over time, you'll be much more miserable being in situations like that than if you were to reconsider your options. That may or may not be the person for you, but that's something to think about. That's all I'll say, and I'll leave it there. But really, as you're going throughout your day, take a minute and define what success, what happiness, what that looks like for you. And it only needs to be from your perspective. And if you take away the influences that we have, the Instagrams, the TikToks, and things that's funneled into our memory and our thoughts every day, take that away and really define what makes you happy and what brings you joy and what brings you peace. And I guarantee if you get refocused on those things, you'll have a much better quality of life than trying to create an illusion of happiness and an illusion of success. Because illusions have a funny way of fading away when they're put to the test. So my goal for you is to continue to be blessed, to continue to walk in the light, and continue to enjoy every second of this gift called life. Be blessed.